Buster Poindexter, hot, hot, hot. It's a day in RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Wanted to do a quick one on some really good practices for doing, law of attraction, trying to attract love into your life. Certainly things I've covered before in the past. Slightly different take on it. Not significant, not breathtaking, but maybe a good refresher for many people. First off, though, the one really, really key thing I think that makes the biggest difference in the big picture is trying to remove this sense of urgency that so many of us have. If we feel like we need it right now, we need to step back a second and start to look at what this relationship was. Why is our happiness so tied into some outside thing? We need to be happy with ourselves. And then when we have relationships with others, it actually becomes healthy. There's a lot more going on. But when there's this need for my happiness depends on what you do, it puts a lot of pressure on that individual. Generally, it's draining. So you're an energy drain, typically, if that's the way you're coming at it, right? So again, if that's how you feel about things, you need to step back. You need to look at yourself first. You need to find happiness within yourself. Then now you make a much better partner, a much better mate for someone else. And now you have good, grounds to stand on and really try to make a difference in your own life. And it does help when you're trying to manifest something. If you're coming at it from a needy place, you might have a very hard time creating this attraction because your energy is not attractive for a healthy relationship. So many of you are aware of the fact that we need to create some sort of vision, some sort of imagery inside our mind. Now, if there's a specific person, that makes that easier to a degree because you can obviously imagine that person, you imagine them and you being together. But if you're just trying to imagine love into your life or a soulmate or your significant other, then just sometimes having that general concept sort of out there, what we would want to do together, what you imagine doing with your significant other, you can have them, you can feel them on your arm, if you will, or your arm around them or hugging on them, but you don't necessarily have to fill in all the details of their face or their hair color, or, you don't need to get this big long laundry list of things that you want this person to be. Instead, set it up to be how, what you would expect, what you desire, the circumstances, the relationship, the time together, what you hope that is like. That's what you're really hoping to imagine. And then the right person, as we've talked about in other shows I've done, that right person from your immediate soul family, soul group, right, will come into play. And they will, fit the role. And you'll see them and you meet them, and it'll be that whole, I knew when I met them, or love at first sight, or, there was just electricity in the air. It'll be that kind of thing. So you'll know when you found them. A lot of us are well aware of the fact, too, of having a dream board, right? A vision board. So it's, again, a really good idea if there is something you desire in your life. Certainly love is a great one, right? It's kind of what we're talking about here specifically, but maybe you're trying to attract more money, more income, a new house, and this new house could be tied into your significant person as well because it's the house you want to get together. So again, these things, incorporating them into your larger picture is a great practice, and that's what a vision board is really for, or it's a collage, if you will, of many different images, many pictures, many things that remind you of what you're trying to create. And what's so cool about that collage concept where you've got all sorts of pictures, one, the amount of time you've put into it, two, the amount of searching for images and pictures that you're cutting out of magazines or whatever the case is. That mental time you're spending doing that is creative. It's actually, it's a doing activity that helps create the outcome you're after, plus all the thinking and the emotional stuff when you find things and you're like, I can't wait to do that. And you have that little mini fantasy for a moment right before you cut out the picture out of the magazine. That whole experience is awesome because now you're building all these individual little images, right? That beach, right? That where you're walking on the beach, and then you've got that picture of the forest because you love to hike and you guys are going to hike together, or camping, or that place where that hotel that's got a beautiful view that you're going to stay at together, or this wonderful church that overlooks the beach off of, San Clemente or whatever, and that's where you're going to get married, right? All of these cool little images, when you put them in your image board and put it in a place that you see every single day, on your wall in your room or wherever the case is, every single day you're staring at these images, you're looking at them, it keeps that whole thing very real and very alive inside of you. And that is extremely powerful because the feelings attached to it are pure and wonderful. There's none of this, he hasn't texted me back, he didn't call me, he didn't do none of that nonsense. It's strictly the image, the vision, the whole plan of what you're expecting and the good feelings that come from it. That's why when we start thinking about all the junk that hasn't happened, we screw ourselves up because we screw up our energy. That is why going down that path and worrying about anything like that, have they texted, have they not texted, what are they doing right now, who are they with, any of that thought process is detrimental to what you're trying to create. It screws your energy up, period. Your energy is what attracts. If some thoughts you're having mess with that, it's not benefiting you. Vision board, awesome, because it's very pure, very serious. It's going to keep you going, in that direction. Live like you're in love. Be in love. Be in love. I'm in love. Be in love and know that this is what you're creating in your life, and being kinder to others, being loving to others, helping individuals that need help at the moment that are right in front of you, thinking about your significant person in love and I just love you. Like, not what can you give me? When am I going to see you? How can I see you? Why is this not happening? Blah, 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 blah. No, just love. Just love them. Just love them. That's all you need to do. Again, every time you think of them, immediate thought transmission, immediate. What do I have to do to create a thought transmission to another person? Think of them. That's it. No fancy, no dances, no fancies, no nothing. Think of them. Think of them. Boom, they're there. Thought transmission now is established. Every thought and feeling I have is currently connected to them, and they're, receiving it. Whether they feel it consciously or not is irrelevant. Their higher self feels it 100% for sure and is well aware of how you feel, and in a non-judgmental way. It's not that their higher self's going, well, you're angry at me and I'm never going to forgive you for it. No, their higher self's like, I love you and you're angry and I'm sorry you're angry. That's upsetting. When you're not, that's going to be cool too, but that's all right. You're working through this. I love you, right? That's all the higher self's doing. You're having your little moment right now. That's okay. No judgment. No judgment. It's acknowledging what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. But no judgment. No right or wrong. Just that is what it is. This is what you are doing. And when you're not doing that, that will be groovy too. You keep doing it as long as you feel like you need to. So again, expressing love, feeling love, being love makes such a large difference. It's about the energy. Remember, the energy is what attracts. Law of attraction talks about the energy attracting it into our lives. The thoughts and all that stuff are supposed to inspire the feelings. When the feelings are there, that's your energy. That's what you're sending out to the world. So you want to spread love wherever you go, however you can, whatever you're comfortable with. I had one person that commented, and they're like, I live in New York. If I walked around and smiled at people, they'd probably punch me, right? I get that. So whatever's appropriate. Maybe you don't growl at them in New York. Maybe you just or you're like, hey, and just do something like, whoa, that guy said hi to me. That's kind of weird. But not bad, right? So maybe that one guy's going to be nice for the rest of the day because you affected him. So this one person that you smiled at in New York, you never would have smiled normally at anybody. You're spreading love. That's what that's all about. So that's good stuff. Get rid of potential physical blocks. Again, there could be things in your house. We've talked about maybe making room in the closet, certainly. Maybe you've got a lot of extra stuff in the spare room, right? And you need to make room because that's maybe where they might need to put some of their stuff. Maybe you've got old pictures of exes, right? Or people from the past. Maybe you've got old kind of energy from the past somewhere that's haunting. Now, again, if you've got old love letters like I do, I have a bag in there with love letters from girlfriends from forever. I never open it. I never go into it. But the idea of throwing them out just seems weird. These are were really significant to me at the time, but I'm not craving to go back to that relationship. I don't have any desire to be with that person anymore. It's not like that. So yeah, there's okay to have stuff like that. But if you find that you keep thinking about someone maybe from your past, that's not necessarily who you're trying to attract, or even still, you're stuck on something in the past that you need to let go of, and you do. Higher self's been bugging you, right? So you need to let go of it. Well, that's where maybe it's a good idea to get rid of some of those pictures. Get rid of some of those things that are lying around, those little knickknacks. Maybe that thing they gave you that's on the refrigerator, and you're like, yeah, I see this thing every day, and I don't think about it, but subconsciously it's there. So by removing it, you remove that energy. It's that feng shui stuff I was talking about in one of my videos that hardly anybody watched. That energy in your house can be fixed and can make a huge difference when it comes down to trying to create a better atmosphere for what you're trying to envision and imagine into existence and basically trying to manifest. So when we have our energy in a better place and we don't have these physical blocks that are constantly unconsciously grabbing our energy and messing with it, it can actually make a larger difference as well. It makes it happen quicker. And this last one was really cool, and this one really hit me because it really made me think. I was like, well, how would this play out per se? And I came up with a couple kind of examples that worked for me, at least in my personal scenario. But finding an object to connect, like, to your intention, to what you're trying to manifest, to your significance, and it could be like one thing for me. I don't want to get too terribly off on the side, but crystals. Crystals are a wonderful thing, and you can basically program through intention. There are some fancier ways you can program crystals, and so I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes, but for the most part, with intention, you can essentially set a crystal to kind of vibrate a certain sort of energy. So you can program it essentially for love, for example, or to help you find your soulmate or whatever. And you can carry this crystal around with you in your pocket, and you can touch it throughout the day frequently, and it'll make you think of them. It'll make you realize, like, especially if you've basically said, I wish for this to help me try to get my soulmate into my life, right? So that's what I'm programming this for, is to help me attract love into my life and my soulmate into my life. Boom, put that intention. Now that crystal represents that. Now that crystal has that energy on it. And now every time when you hold it in your hand, it reminds you of that, and it's helping you in that direction. A very powerful way to create sort of that intention through a special object, just a thing. But it's a thing that reminds you. Could be a penny, maybe it could be a significant coin that always makes you think of them. There was one person that I dated at one point that actually looked a lot like the little, I think we call her Sacagawea, right? She was on the back of those little gold-colored dollars. And they, on the one side they had the picture of her, and she had the little baby on her back or whatever. I don't know. There's some story behind it all, but anyway, she reminded me of her. So I'd carry one of those around, and it would always remind me of that person that I cared about, right? She looked a lot like her, so it was kind of, this reminds me of her. Could be something, maybe a little figurine, right? Maybe they love the Incredible Hulk or something weird, or their little kid loves Spider-Man, so you've got a little figurine maybe that you keep in your pocket, and you touch it, and it makes you think of them, right? It makes you think of what you're coming to. That energy is another way to get yourself into that mindset, that feeling set. So every time you touch it, it makes you feel, or it helps you feel more towards what you're trying to manifest. Hopefully these things kind of help get you in that direction, kind of help make sense of what we're really trying to do when we're manifesting. There's all these different techniques, but ultimately it's about getting your energy or your feelings into a certain way. It's not that the vision board necessarily is better than anything else. It's the creation of the vision board and seeing the vision board every day that helps inspire feelings within ourselves. That is what matters. It's not the vision board. The vision board is just stuff. Pictures. Doesn't matter. You take your vision board and put it in someone else's room, that won't necessarily mean a thing to them, will it? No, but to you it does, because of what you created and put into it. Same goes with all these things. Feeling love, expressing love, being love to others. When you're doing that, you're feeling that way. You're taking ownership of your emotions, your feeling, your life, and realizing you make a difference in other people's lives you touch. And that is what's also attractive to a soulmate or trying to get love into your life, is being more loving, being something that they want to be in love with, because your love is such a wonderful feeling. Hopefully this makes a huge difference. Going out with a great song by Billy Idol. It's called Hot in the City. It's Dan Radio Style.